Today's roadside adventure is from Acts 8:26 through 40. Hear these words. Now an angel of the Lord said to Philip, "Go south to the road, the desert road, that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza." So he started out, and on his way he met an Ethiopian eunuch, an important official in charge of the treasure of Candace, queen of the Ethiopians. This man had gone to Jerusalem to worship, and on his way home was sitting in his chariot reading the book of Isaiah the prophet. The Spirit told Philip, "Go to the chariot and stay near it." Then Philip ran up to the chariot and heard the man reading Isaiah the prophet. "Do you understand what you are reading?" Philip asked. "How can I," he said, "unless someone explains it to me?" So he invited Philip to come and sit with him. The eunuch was reading this passage of scripture. He was led like a sheep to the slaughter, and as a lamb before its shearer is silent, so he did not open his mouth. In his humiliation he was deprived of justice. Who can speak of his descendants? For his life was taken from the earth. The eunuch asked Philip, "Tell me, please, who is the prophet talking about, himself or someone else?" Then Philip began with that very passage of scripture and told him the good news of Jesus. As they traveled along the road, they came to some water, and the eunuch said, "Look, here is water. Why shouldn't I be baptized?" And he gave orders to stop the chariot. Then both Philip and the eunuch went down into the water, and Philip baptized him. The Spirit of the Lord suddenly took Philip away, and the eunuch did not see him again, but went on his way rejoicing. Are you ready for our walk today? I'm out here on what was my grandparents' farm in the mountains, and I'm more likely to run across a deer or some turkey on this road than I am a person. Some might even call it the wilderness. And our story today takes place on a wilderness road. And I bet it was just as unusual to run across someone on that road. Maybe that's why Philip got so close to the chariot. You see, Philip was sent out on this road by an angel. The angel shows up to Philip and says, "Get up and go." We can hear the urgency in that request. And Philip must have felt it too, because he does. He gets up and he goes right away. That's when he comes across this chariot. Maybe he knew that was why the angel sent him out there. Maybe running across someone on the wilderness road would have been so unusual that had to be the reason Philip was in the wilderness. You see, the chariot was carrying an important official of the Ethiopian queen's court. We don't learn his name, but we do learn a little about him in this story. We learn that he worked for the queen and that he was over her treasury. He must have been trustworthy. We can assume that. We also learn that he's returning home after worshiping in Jerusalem. It bothers me that we don't know his name. The only ways we have to identify him are his job, which gave him a little bit of power. Maybe others saw him as important when they found out what he did, what his job title was. We all want to be seen as important and powerful, as having it all together. His job title could have helped him. People could have perceived him positively because of it. The other identifiers we are told about, they take this impression of power and importance away. He's a foreigner and a eunuch. Both of those would make him an outsider. He was outside the norm in Jerusalem. Both of those limit his ability to be accepted and to worship inside the temple. But that's where he had been. I think about this unnamed man being seen more for his labels than who he really is. We remember them and often overlook how faithful he was. How drawn to God he must have felt to make the journey all the way to the temple, only to be allowed to partially participate. He was a man of faith, even if not fully accepted into that system of faith. Philip finds him reading the scripture. I think we can assume he had read the passages in Leviticus and Deuteronomy that banned him from the assembly of the temple. He knew he wasn't fully accepted, but still felt a drawing to go there and a drawing to keep reading, even on his way home. All while the unnamed man was reaching towards God. God was reaching towards him. God sends Philip to the middle of nowhere in a hurry so that this man can hear the good news. Philip reaches out to this unnamed man and offers to explain the scripture that he is reading to him. I wonder how many times he had read this passage, aching in his heart to truly understand it. I bet he felt those words each time he read them, identifying with the one who faced humiliation and was deprived of justice. That sounds like the story of the unnamed man, being excluded and pushed out because he was different. No matter how much power the queen gave him, or how much he wanted to worship, he was still kept away. He could never be good enough to be part of the temple system. But Philip takes the time needed to explain it all to him. I wonder how it felt for him to finally get the answers he wanted, to finally find someone willing to unlock the secrets of faith to him. As they travel along, they see some water. And now the unnamed man has the courage to ask if anything stands between him and being baptized, between him and being accepted. I wonder if his voice cracked as he asked. He'd felt rejection so many times before, but this was his time to be accepted. This time he gets to feel the water wash his past sins and pain away. He gets to belong, to fully belong. When they come up out of the water, the Spirit grabs Philip and takes him away, and the unnamed man goes on his way. But this time, he is rejoicing. He has found what he was looking for. He has become a member of the family of God. His identity is no longer tied to what kept him out. His identity is not defined by anyone else but God. He is no longer an outcast, lost in the wilderness. He is now beloved and welcomed. We are beloved and we are welcomed. We are the children of God. He has found a home, and so have we. We are known and defined by so much: how we look, where we come from, what we believe. But that's not who we really are. We are beloved, we are welcomed, and we are children of God. I hope that you embrace that today. I hope that you hear that title echoed in your soul that defines who you are. I also hope that you let it echo in your ears every time you encounter someone today. So today's reflection question is this: what does it mean for you to be a child of God? What does it mean for you to be a child of God? Spend some time living into that identity today. Know that you are loved. Know that you are welcomed. Know that you are God's child. Enjoy the rest of your day as you embrace your identity. See you tomorrow.